We're here at the Adobe Government Forum with Colt Whittall, Chief Experience Officer at the Department of the Air Force. Colt, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
You know, I think I would like to start with asking, better customer experiences that put people first is a rallying cry for government. The administration's made it important, and it certainly makes sense. But how do you relate that mantra to the work that your agency is doing, the Air Force, and to its mission?
Yeah, great question. So the way that I think about it is, if you look at who our audience is, right? It's airmen, it's active duty, it's guard, reserve, civilian around the world, right? Serving their country. And they skew very young. A lot of our airmen are, in their 20s or even younger in some cases. And technology to them is just something they breathe, right? They expect it to work. They're used to it. They're very good at it. They'll learn it quickly. They'll pick it up much faster, often than the instructors that are teaching them new things. But they need it to work, and they need to be reliable. They need to be resilient. They need to perform, and those are reasonable expectations and something we can do. So the way that we approach user experience of enterprise IT, which is really where I focus, I work for the CIO, is we treat our airmen as customers, and we measure user experience from their perspective. So we're using kind of the tools of the customer experience world and strategies of the customer experience world. We're applying it to user experience of enterprise IT, and it's working. We in the last 2 years we have basically doubled our user satisfaction scores, which we measure monthly with a survey, kind of voice of the customer methodology that we use. And so it is working, and it matters a lot because, as I said in the conference a few minutes ago, this is related to, it's related to, user satisfaction with IT. If people get frustrated, they kind of find a disconnect between the technology that we sell them when they're recruited. And then that frustration leads to sort of resentment, and that becomes a retention problem, becomes a morale problem, that becomes a retention problem, and that can become eventually a recruitment problem, and then that is a readiness problem, and readiness is something that matters a lot, in a military organization. So it's solvable. We are solving it, with CX tools.
A lot at stake there with customer experience.
Sure.
Next, I'd like to ask, what are some lessons that you've learned that you might share with others trying to ramp up the customer experience curve in government?
So I think by far the most useful strategy is take a very data-driven approach. So it requires fairly few permissions and approvals to go measure user experience. We did it with, we didn't have to go through a lot of hoops. Most of what we're doing, we just turned on. We found some money. We started very small. We turned it on. We started collecting data. And once you start collecting a lot of user experience data at different parts, so voice of the customer type of data, survey data, performance data or operational data, data on performance, in our case, at the wide area network, at the computer, at the application. Once you start collecting all of that data, and then you can stratify it by type of user, by location, over time, and that empowers you in ways that would take many years to do, but you can do it in a fairly short period of time. So I would say a data-driven approach. Again, most of the time you can implement those kinds of sensors that you need to understand CX without that much difficulty.
Well, Colt Whittall, thank you so much for joining us here, and thank you for sharing some of your insights on customer experience.
Thank you.